with your testimony. And okay,
All right.
all right.
I don't even know where to start.
Do you want to use that?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
you can use that. Okay, great. Let's give Corinne a hand.
Hi, I'm Corinne. I'm an addict alcoholic. I have a 7-year-old son who's here tonight. He is my inspiration and motivation for everything I do. And I guess here it goes. Growing up, I was the youngest of two kids. I had an older sister named Nikki who was 7 years older than I was. We grew up in a log cabin in Brunswick, Minnesota. We went to Morris School. We lived with our mom, Bonnie, and my dad, Bert, who was my sister's stepdad. Mom worked all the time as a waitress or a blackjack dealer, and dad was a concrete finisher. Mom and dad grew weed in the woods behind our house growing up, so I learned how to grow and care for plants at a young age. Dad also drank, and he drank a lot. Many times he had taken me with him to the bar or out fishing, hunting, or snowmobiling while he was drunk, and something almost always happened. Once he got a DWI with me in the truck. Other times he would get so drunk that uh, sorry, get so drunk that I would have to drive whatever vehicle we had home. I was 9 the first time I learned how to drive his pickup truck. At school, I was bullied relentlessly because my dad was the town drunk and we were poor. School was the hardest part of my entire life because I was bullied day in and day out for everything from my family to my buck teeth and even my weight. I was beaten up, called names, and basically tortured all throughout school. On top of that, all that, from the time I was 6 until I was 10, I was molested by my babysitter's son and her boyfriend. I finally told my mom after I got sober and was doing EMDR and remembered everything. I started smoking cigarettes when I was 11, stealing them from my parents at first. Uh, uh, when I when I was very young, I turned away from God. My grandma was an evangelical minister, and she was a horrible person who treated others very poorly. At an early age, I turned from God because she represented what God. If she represented what God was, then I wanted nothing to do with him. When I was 15, Mom and I moved away from my dad, whose drinking had gotten worse. It had gotten to the point I couldn't take being there any longer. Every time I went to the fridge, he would oink at me or moo at me when I grabbed something to eat. So I would just binge eat from the time I got home from school until I heard his pickup pull in the driveway so that I wasn't hungry when he got home. This went on for months. After Mom and I moved away to Rush City and I started going to high school there, things took a turn for the worse. I was being assaulted daily at school and bullied to the point where I dropped out and enrolled in an alternative called Novanet. Luke 19:10, for the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost. Thus my party lifestyle began. I was getting stoned and drunk almost every day with my friends. During this time, I was addicted to the internet dating and was meeting hundreds of men of all ages, ranging from 17 to 30 years of age. In time, I found out my sister used meth, and her and I started using together, spent thousands of dollars on it. When I was 18, my dad checked himself into treatment and graduated successfully in January of 2002. After he completed treatment, he moved in with my mom and I, and we started building a relationship. That was short lived because in August of 2002, we found out he had small cell cancer and he was given 2 weeks to 3 months to live. It was only 8 days after my 19th birthday, 2 weeks after he was originally diagnosed, when he left us. That was the most traumatic moment in my entire life. After he died, I completely lost myself in addictions and stayed there for over 20 years. Satan took advantage of this opportunity and used my brokenness to manipulate me into living this life of addiction. In 2011, I was a survivor of a terrible act of domestic violence where my then boyfriend had beat me over the head with a baseball bat. This is when my opiate addiction began. Psalms 34:18, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. I've been to 4 treatment facilities, and it wasn't until my last day at Recovering Hope that I finally got it right, with my son as my motivation. 20 years after my addiction began, here I am standing in the house of God, blessed beyond measure to be 4.5 years meth free, 3.5 years alcohol free. The turning point and most pivotal moment of my recovery started the moment I surrendered my life to God and promised to live a life that He would be proud if He just took it all away. Psalm 16:5. You, Lord, are all I have. Above you, give me all I need. My future is in your hands. The night the Lord spoke to me was the last night I had used meth. I had lost my son, and to me, life was then over. I had a plan to light my house on fire and then shoot myself in the head. But that was on but I was on my way as I was on my way to the bedroom to get the gun. I tripped and fell to my knees in the hallway. It was then that I heard a voice say, "Now." This is when I begged God to make it all stop, to take away my pain and make me better. Matthew 21:22. And whatever you ask for in prayer, you will receive if you have faith. Mark 11:24. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. And it truly was. The next day, I was checked into Recovering Hope. Life has been so much easier since I surrendered my world and myself to God. This new life I have built is so amazing. A year and a half ago, I started working again full time. I've attended DBT skill classes. I did EMDR to address all my trauma, and I've attended therapy regularly as well as remain med compliant. I've been able to live a fulfilling life and be the mother my son needs and deserves. I've earned the trust and respect of many people in my life and continue to try to be a light for others who have lost their way. I try to be an example of what recovery can look like. I try to motivate and inspire others in their own recovery. I love my new life, and I will keep going because I deserve this wonderful life, and I have so painstakingly built from the rubble of my old life. I owe it to God, Gretchen, Mary Kay, and Recovering Hope for my success. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to get this far, and I'm far from done yet. I don't know where this new life will take me, but I'm so excited to see where it goes. Thank you. God bless. Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
I gotta embarrass you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
On behalf of CR and True Mind, we have the courage to stand up and be testimonies.
Thank you. Thank
Not
you.
an easy feat.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen.